Hey guys, Jay at Auto Performance here. Alright, I kind of showed this truck in another video a little bit. Starting to do some work on it. I know I'm kind of jumping around on projects here, but this is something I had a guy working on, and he took it all apart, started stripping the paint and abandoning it, so I don't really want this thing sitting apart forever. So I want to kind of get the ball rolling on this, and I'm still working on that 31 Ford too, and I'm going to show you an update on that one real soon as well. So I'm just going to kind of quickly go over the game plan here, show you what I'm doing, and I also want to talk about sandblasting bodies. I'm against it, and I know there's all kinds of medias out there, and I know you can adjust your pressure and all these things, but I've had this done twice, I think, in my lifetime. It's been a disaster each time, and I don't like it. And the guy that was working on this, he spent hours manually stripping the paint off, and at the end of it, he says, well, man, we need to sandblast this. It's just not, because he's thinking this thing, because he sands on it, it's going to look like brand new bare steel. And it's just not. It's going to look like this. It's just dark in color. It's got porosity to it. And you want to sit here and sand all this out, you're just making the metal thin. And the sandblast just warps it. The sand gets caught in places that you can't get to sometimes. I just don't like it. It's just a preference. And there's another guy who has a YouTube channel that I stumbled across. And I wasn't looking for anything about sandblasting or anything. He's a coach builder, and he makes his own body panels and things. And the guy's real good at what he does, and it turns out that he's actually a Massachusetts guy like myself, which is kind of cool. And the name of his shop is called Pro Shaper, and he's got a YouTube channel, and the channel, I believe, is called Pro Shaper. I'm going to put a link to that, because if you're interested in handmade panels and rust repair and things like that, this guy's the real deal. This pile of parts back here, he can make it new, out of a flat piece of metal. I mean, it's pretty incredible the work he does. I am not that skilled with sheet metal by any means, and I think I've kind of told you that before. And in my previous video on this truck, we kind of talked about not overwhelming yourself and just getting the project done. And so if you look at the body here, and it looks kind of dark and ugly, I've treated this with phosphoric acid. I never really washed it off. I need to retreat it and wash it all down. And, chemically stripping everything, to me, is the way to go. And this other guy I'm talking about, Ray, he agrees with that, and I was so glad to hear him say that. And he's done several videos about sandblasting and not sandblasting, and how to treat rust and chemically strip a car. And even though it seems like a lot of work, and it is, I mean, everything's a lot of work, but you kind of put stuff on and you walk away and you go do something else. You don't have to sit here and watch the acid eat the rust, or you don't, just like you don't have to sit and watch paint dry. You paint it and you walk away and come back later when it's dry. And so I encourage you to check out his channel, because he goes over that stuff in a lot of detail. So let me kind of give you a quick rundown of what I'm thinking and what I'm going to do here. Originally, I wasn't going to pull the body off, but this guy has pretty much pulled the body off. So I primarily work alone these days, so I hooked up this chain hoist to the beam here, and that'll help me easily lift the body on and off, because I'll probably have to do it a few times. And I'll run some straps under here, you know, that are real gentle and won't hurt the body and all that. And I've got these old, I think they're aircraft wheels. Bought them from a salvage yard several years ago. Never really did anything with them. So what I'm going to do is just use these and some wood and just kind of make it like a quick little makeshift body dolly, so I can take this body off and roll it into the spray booth. The first thing I'm going to do is pull this off, and I'm going to treat the underneath of it and paint the underneath of it. And then I'm going to put it on the body dolly and get to work on it in the spray booth, and, you know, finish treating the metal, and then, you know, start doing, you know, any hammer and dolly work I need to do, and you know, some fill, hopefully not too much fill. This is actually in really good condition, even though it, you know, kind of looks like hell right now, but the cab is really in good shape, and so I'm pretty happy with that. The bed is a different story. That's in pretty terrible shape. The fenders are okay. They need some work, and you know, we'll go over these pieces in another video, and you'll see me put this together. And I'm going to box the frame on this one. I'm going to do a front end. I don't know if I'm going to do this is a personal project. I'm doing this for my wife, and I'm kind of on a budget, you know, to be honest with you. I might try to do like a Crown Vic front end on it or something and see if I can make that work. If not, I'll have to buy, you know, a front end from somebody. And we did that on the 31. It's a really nice front end, and but, you know, that's a customer vehicle, so it's a little bit easier to spend somebody else's money. So anyways, and you know, the hood here is in decent shape. It's not going to need too much, so I don't think that'll take too horribly long. So let's kind of talk about rust removal and things a little bit. I've got this sitting here, and what this is, and there's a lot of different brands and types, and you know, this is a concrete and metal prep. It's just basically phosphoric acid, and you can get this at your local hardware store or home improvement store. It's pretty easy to find, relatively inexpensive. They have other things that are more high dollar, but they're essentially just a phosphoric acid like this is. And you can see this is kind of shiny looking. I've sprayed some on here a few minutes ago just to, and really it looks a lot better already. You know, a lot of the rust is already dissolved, and I've sprayed some inside. Like I told you previously, I'm gonna coat the inside of these doors to hopefully combat it from rusting further, you know, from the inside out kind of thing. This door is in pretty good shape. I would say not quite as good as the other one, but pretty close, you know. And let me show you the other door. I've got that finished. So let's go into the paint booth here. I just painted that earlier today. So here's the other door, and it's not perfect, but I'm pretty happy with it. Again, you know, the goal is to finish this and not make a lifetime ambition out of it. And it's, you know, what you would call driver quality, and I'm pretty happy with it. I got to be honest with you. You know, again, it's not perfect. It's not, you know, high-end show quality, but I don't know if the camera really picks up much or not, but it's in pretty good shape, and I'm pretty happy with it, and I think we're going to go with it. I don't really see me sanding this down and redoing anything. So that's where I'm at there. And, you know, it looks a hell of a lot better than the other one I just showed you. And, you know, if you remember, this is the one that I showed in the previous video. Talking about that video was titled something or other, Why Restoration Projects Never Get Finished. And, you know, like I said, if I really was to sit here and try to get every panel perfect, I just don't know that I'd live long enough to make this a perfect vehicle. So, again, the goal is to finish it, get it looking nice, get it driving great, running great, and enjoy it. You know, while I'm still young enough to drive. You know, I see guys have projects for, you know, 30 years, and you know, they'll end up in a wheelchair by the time they ever finish it, or in a nursing home or something, or even worse. So, anyways, that's kind of where I'm at. That's the game plan on this, and as I do things to it, I'll show you and tell you what I screwed up on, and you know, maybe even have a few things to tell you that I did right, you know. So look forward to that, and I appreciate you guys watching this stuff, and I hope it's helpful to you somehow. I just hope that, you know, maybe I'm not teaching you everything about auto restoration here, but I hope that I'm inspiring you at least to work on your own projects, and, you know, maybe take the attitude, hey, you know, this guy's right. I'm going to get it looking good, and, you know, maybe I'm not the guy that's going to make it perfect. And maybe that's not super important at the end of the day, because, you know, once this truck is all assembled and together, and the handles and the trim and everything are on it, it's going to be sharp, you know. And I just think that sometimes, and I am this guy, you know, sometimes you get caught up in perfection. So anyways, that's all I got to show you. I'm going to put a link in the description so you can check that other guy, Ray at Pro Shaper. And he just reminds me of my old shop teachers and things, and just a very knowledgeable guy, very patient guy, and highly skilled, you know. And he's got a lot more experience than I do with auto restoration, and he's, you know, kind of got his niche where he makes body panels and things, and he's actually in the process of making an entire car, which is pretty cool. I'm going to be tuning in on that and watching that build, but he's making it all from scratch, and it's a car that doesn't exist. It was you know, just a drawing on a computer, you know, a made-up deal, and so I'm looking forward to that, and so I hope you watch the rest of this build with me, and okay, that's all I got for now. Thanks, guys.